You're listening to the Manifestation Station podcast. I'm your host, Holly Edwards, and together we can help create your magic. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another week of the Manifestation Station. I all hope you're having a lovely week and filling it with adventures and manifesting. I've had so many messages this week from people who have listened to the podcast so far saying it's really weird, but all of these amazing things are happening in their life and that they've found life and fun in manifesting. So that just makes me really happy, because the more that I can spread the word and the feeling of goodness to do with manifesting, that just makes me really happy. And ultimately, that is why I'm doing the podcast, because if we can spread a little bit of light into everyone's lives, then why would we not? And manifesting is about taking the reins back, your life, and being in control. And you really do have the power to create the dream life that you are dreaming of. So why would we not do that? Let's get up. Let's do it. This week we are talking, I'm actually very excited about this week's podcast. We are talking about raising your vibrations and how to raise your vibrations. So we know that when you're manifesting, it's really important to be operating on a high frequency and feeling good, and thoughts of and feelings of feeling good. So excited and happiness and love and joy. So it's easy to know that that is the process, but how do we raise our vibrations? Now, I want to thank everyone who sent in messages this week. I've said every week, if you can, please send in your manifesting messages, because I really want to answer as many of them as I can. This week, I was actually met with the same question a handful of times, and I think it's a question that I often have myself and friends and clients around me. So thank you for your messages. So the question that I wanted to answer today is, what do you do if you're feeling like you're stuck in a rut and you're feeling negative? And someone asked me, how do I find my flow again? I think it's safe to say that we all find ourselves in this position from time to time, don't we? And it can be really good to adopt habits and these simple processes to help you to raise your vibrations. And it's really important to master these. Some of them are so simple, but if you take these small, simple steps to raise your vibrations, you will make yourself feel lighter, happier, and you'll feel good about yourself. It's about building your confidence, even in the dark days, which we are all going to have. But if you can raise those vibrations, then you will be helping your manifestation, all of your manifestations, to come true. So have many, many solutions to raise your vibrations. So stick with me. I'd like to say 10 steps to raise your vibrations, but I haven't actually counted them. But I think there is about 10. There could be more. Let's see. So one of the really first important steps in raising your vibration is so simple, but it is to move your body. In any way that you can, just move. I think we can find ourselves when we're feeling negative or in low mood or feeling lethargic, it can be so tempting to lay around all day, sit in our pajamas, not do much, scroll on our phones. And that can be addictive in itself. The thought of moving your body sometimes is difficult. So if you just set yourself a small goal of just a 5-minute walk, just by setting small achievable goals, anyone can do them. So if you just say to yourself, I will go out for a walk for 5 minutes because I know that it is going to improve my mood. Anyone can achieve 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be a walk. It can be doing some yoga. It can be doing a hobby or a sport or something else that you like, or riding on your bike. But just set yourself a small achievable goal. And this is something, if you follow Dr. Chatterjee, that he talks about a lot, and saying that he has patients. He's a doctor. He often sees patients, and he will set them 5-minute tasks. So to do some squats while the kettle's boiling, or while the microwave's going, to do some lunges. And it's a really good habit, because what he says is that everyone can achieve just a 5-minute goal. So what you'll find is that even after your 5 minutes, you actually go, do you know what? I'm feeling pretty good. I might do 10 minutes. But the point is, if you can just achieve your 5 minutes, then that is more than acceptable, and you will have achieved your goal. So you'll feel good about that mentally and physically. So move your body in any way possible. Get the oxygen flowing. That will release happy hormones in your body. So moving your body, it conquers two things. It releases endorphins, which are natural mood lifters anyway. If you can also do this outside, I would highly recommend. So this is one of the next things on the list to raise your vibrations, is to get outside in nature. So if you can combine your exercise with nature, it's proven that being outside with nature helps you to feel more connected and in control of your body. That is proven. Same with exercise, will release endorphins. That is proven to help lift your mood. If you can combine these two things, then that's even better. I find that, if I'm feeling low, I have done this recently actually. And whilst you're longing to, sit on the sofa and watch Netflix and eat chocolate, all of these are absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with those. But if you can just force yourself to get outside for 5 minutes, you'll feel more grounded. Your thoughts will become clearer. You'll notice the nature and beauty around you. It's almost like when you're walking, just try and appreciate, even if it's raining, go and soak up the rain. If it's sunshine, beautiful, just soak up the nature in your surroundings, and that will put you in a state of mindfulness, which is about being aware of the now and your current situation and where you are. And that will bring a state of calmness over you. And what I find, I said I did this recently, and I woke up really feeling just out of sorts and really unmotivated. So I took this advice myself. I put my trainers on and I went outside for the 5 minutes, and it honestly completely turned around my mindset. I returned home, I felt lighter and I felt like more clarity. I felt like a cloud had been lifted from my brain and my thoughts. And I came back. It doesn't mean that you have to come back and be bouncing around thinking you're your most happy state ever, but it's almost just lifting you out of that negative space, and you will feel more able to achieve the goals that you've set out for yourself that day. One of the next most underused tools in manifesting and in raising your vibrations, we've talked about it briefly on the podcast before, but it's about giving gratitude. If you're feeling low, and this is the one thing that I do all the time, if I'm feeling in a low mood, just to help propel me onto that manifesting frequency, I give gratitude. This is my go-to tool. If you have nothing in the tank to give and you're feeling lost and lacking in motivation, and do nothing else than give gratitude. So you can do this by writing in a journal, or you can just do it in your head and make mental notes of all the things that you are grateful for in your life, or all of the good things that happened to you today. I quite often do my daily gratitude when I go to sleep and just run through all the good things that happened to me that day, even in the most simplest of days. And in the most darkest of your days, there will always be things to be grateful for. It's my go-to tool. I highly recommend it. If you're feeling low today, then just take a few minutes and run through in your head all of the things that you are grateful for. Another way to raise your vibrations is to put on your favorite music or put on your favorite track that lifts your mood. Sometimes when I'm feeling low, I don't like the thought of putting music on, but if I follow this simple step, force myself to put the music on, blast it loud, whether you're walking or you're sitting indoors or you're doing the housework, whatever it is, if you're doing nothing, just put on a track. Think of a song that you love that makes you feel alive and makes you feel inspired. Blast it from your speakers, blast it in your headphones, Dance, sing, move, stretch. Like I was saying, if you can incorporate your exercise, there's a girl who I've started following on Instagram, and I can't fully remember her name. I think she's called In Body Amy. I'm going to actually tag her in the notes and I'll come back to that. I think it's In Body Amy. And she offers these classes where she puts on music and you release all of the stress in your body just by moving. So, if you're on your own, you don't have to be on your own, but if you're on your own, even better, because you can blast that music, dance around the kitchen, sing unapologetically, let out all the stress, all the negativity, all the tension. And I have done this recently. And by the end of the track, I am honestly like a new woman. It is unbelievable the turnaround you feel when you do that. You might feel really stupid, but honestly, do it. No inhibitions. No one's watching. Dance like no one's watching. Sing like no one's listening. It is an absolute game changer. Please try it. Try it when you get off this podcast. Don't pause me now, but try it when you get off the podcast. Put the music on and raise your vibrations. Music has a powerful impact on our emotions. So listen to uplifting music or spiritual sounds and frequencies, which also help to raise your vibrations. Now, I read a quote recently that said, if you can control what you eat and drink, then you can control everything else in your life. And it really stuck with me, because if you're feeling low, you'll likely feel as though you have no control over what you eat and what you drink, and you'll probably be likely craving junk food and foods that probably aren't good for you. Chocolate, burgers, crisps. Again, nothing wrong with any of these foods and eating any of these foods. But if you're trying to raise your vibration, then a really good idea is to have a mindful eating and drinking process. I know that sometimes that's easier said than done, because, we'll rather be on the sofa watching Netflix than eating our chocolate or our ice cream. But a really good tip, and something I find really useful, is to not count calories. Don't go being hungry by starting to say, oh, I've really got to restrict my foods. What I do is I just start eating as clean as I can. Nothing else, no hunger, no restrictions. If you want to eat all day, then you do that. Now, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a dietitian, but I think a way to raise your vibrations and incorporating this step about monitoring or being in control is the best way to say it, of your food and your drink, of what goes into your mouth. I think this is a really simple place to start. So just try and start eating as clean as you can. You can have as much of those foods as possible, but try and avoid the processed foods. Now, this will not only have an impact on your physical body, but more than that, and with what we're talking about, is that actually it will have an effect on your mental well-being, because you are taking control back of your life. And remember that quote that, where is it? I've lost it. If you can control what you eat and drink, you can control anything else in your life. And I think just getting a grasp on what you're eating can really help feel like you've got the reins back on your life and that you are in control. And it has a knock-on effect to all of the other things in your life. And whilst we're talking about this as well, another step is to up your drinking water. So just up your water game, guys. Stay hydrated. Again, not only physically affecting your body, but by drinking more water, your mind will be thinking, this person is in control. They are in control of their life. They are in control of their mindset. That will help you to feel more calm, and you will then be able to hit a frequency where you are able to really up your manifesting game. So I think it's a really, really good lesson. It doesn't mean that you can't have your chocolate and your crisps and all of those things that you want, but more moderation will just help your mental well-being. Now, one of the biggest steps in raising your vibrations is to up your self-care game. It is a surefire way to raise your vibration. It will add to your mental and physical well-being. So when you wake up in the morning, choose yourself and be kind to yourself. And there are loads of ways that you can up your self-care game. So treat yourself with love and kindness. The more self-care rituals that you can bring into your life will help to raise your vibration. So if you're feeling rubbish today, if you're feeling negative, then offer yourself self-care. There are loads of ways that you can do this. Have a bath, run yourself a bath, treat yourself and add bubbles, light a candle, put on a face mask, blow dry your hair, be aware of your kind of grooming, so up your grooming game. Doesn't mean that you have to do this every day, but if you're finding yourself feeling negative today, get in the shower, blow dry your hair, put some makeup on, get dressed, put on some clean clothes. Even if you plan to have a day watching Netflix on the sofa, still get up, shower, clean your hair, wash your face, and put yourself on the sofa. Light your candle. All of these things will, even if you are having your sofa day, you will feel better for it because you have taken control of your self-care in the morning. Now, my mum's a great one for this. I will quite often be on the phone. If I say to her, look, I'm feeling a little bit low, I'm feeling a little bit flat, she'll say, go on, girl, get in that shower, put some makeup on and put some clean clothes on. Even if you're going to put your pajamas back on and have a pajama day, if you can get ready first and just, wash and shower and clean yourself, you will feel better for it. Another form of self-care is journaling. Now, this is known to be proven to help with your mood. So if you're feeling lost and in a lull, grab a pen and paper, grab your journal if you have one, and write down your thoughts, write down the things that you want, just write. So this ties into another one of our tasks to raise your vibrations, and that is to be doing something creative. So apparently, if we're being creative, we are in a state of mindfulness. There must be something to do with focusing on a project and using your hands to be creative and using your mind to be creative that relaxes us and will help to raise your vibrations. And journaling is one of the ways to do that. It can release your emotions. It can put you in touch with your emotions as well. So you may find that as you begin to write, all of these emotions will come flooding out onto the page, and that can really help you to be mindful and to help you compartmentalize your thoughts. And perhaps if you're worried about things, this will help you to get clarity on what it is that you're worrying about, if it's even worth worrying about. So that will certainly help you raise your vibrations. Also, under the umbrella of self-care is hobbies. So set yourself some time aside each day to raise your vibrations with fulfilling your hobbies, whether that's even just getting 10 minutes reading outside, with your favorite book, attending a yoga class or painting or whatever your hobbies are. And if you can create new hobbies and start new hobbies, this is also a really, really solid way to raise your vibrations. You can get yourself out of your comfort zone, and it provides you with new focus and new energies and new life. Now, a few years ago, when I was single, I'd actually just been through a breakup. And as you probably know, I'm sure we've all had, a breakup in our lives where you're feeling pretty rubbish after, even though I wasn't meant to be with this person and I didn't want to be with this person and that I had left. I was still feeling in that horrible breakup lull. And I felt very lost, felt I'd lost some of my confidence and my passion and my enthusiasm and motivation. I actually remember speaking to my sister on the phone, and she was like, you need to, do something for you. Do something for you. Find a new hobby. Set yourself a goal. Run a race or something. So I got off the phone that night. This is a few years ago. I got off the phone that night, and this was winter. So I think it was about November or December time. And I Googled the London Marathon. Now, I wasn't a runner at the time. I didn't really like running that much. I don't think I was a very natural long distance runner. I was more of a sprinter, and Googled the London Marathon to see if there were any places left. And I found a lovely charity called Whiz Kids, and they said that they had some charity places available for the marathon. So I applied, and the next day, a lovely lady from the charity called me and said, "Yeah, you've got a place in the London Marathon." So I put the phone down. Within 12 hours of that phone call with my sister about, trying to come up with a goal, I had signed up for the flipping London Marathon as a non-runner. I was terrified. I was excited. I actually just felt a bit dumbfounded, and I couldn't believe, maybe I thought I was having a mental episode. But I then started training because I had to. I just put my trainers on and I would go out for a run and just see how far I could run. I think I could run less than a mile. And this new focus of running and training for a marathon became my life. It became my focus. And it was such a huge goal. It took over my life, but in a really healthy and happy way. And with each run, I felt powerful in my mind and my body. And it was something that I was just doing for me, no one else. At first, when I was training, I was visualizing that I wanted to manifest having met someone, my new partner, my new soulmate, and that I would have them at the finish line greet me as I got my medal, and that I would run into their arms, and that would be the most amazing manifesting journey. But the more that I began running and training for my goal, the more it became clear that this goal was about nothing and no one else except for me. It improved my self-confidence, my self-worth. It made me really clear in my thoughts about and my desires about what I wanted my life to look like in all areas of my life, not just the exercise and the fitness with the marathon goal, but it shaped my mind about what I wanted out of my career and out of a relationship and out of, my finances. Needless to say, I ran the London Marathon and I completed it in 5 hours, and I didn't have the love of my life waiting for me at the end, but it set me on a path, and that medal that I got was the love of my life for a while. And I then made steps after that marathon and did start dating again. And actually, funny enough, met the love of my life after that. This is why I always say to challenge yourself, set yourself a challenge or take up a new hobby. Now, the marathon may seem a bit far-fetched. Now, that worked really well for me, but it can be small challenges, but set yourself a challenge. That might be, I will go for 3 walks this week, 3 5-minute walks this week. It could be, I'm going to do a 5K this week. I'm going to do a 10K, a half marathon. It doesn't have to be anything to do with walking or running. It can be, I'm going to attend a new yoga class with new people. I will meet new people. I'll be moving my body, and I will set myself a goal to go to 1 new class a week. Whatever that hobby might be, just go for it, because it is a surefire way to raise your vibrations. It will bring new passion and new enthusiasm into your life. The next step in helping to raise your vibrations is to write lists. So we can often find ourselves overwhelmed with all the tasks that we need to complete in that day or in that week or in your life in general. Now, a really good way to offload and to deal with some of that overwhelm is to write lists. So write a list for what you want to achieve the next day. Write that before you go to bed. Now, this has many, many pros to it. So once you've written your list on paper, your brain can officially offload those things that are kind of holding up space in your mind. So once they're on paper, they're offloaded, they can leave your head, and that can give you more clarity and also better sleep if you do this the night before. It's also been proven that the process of ticking things off a list helps improve your mental health. I mean, I bloody love, don't know about you, but I bloody love ticking things off a list, don't you? Actually go as far to make a list. And sometimes I sneakily put things on a list that I've already achieved just so I can tick them. Does anyone else do that? Or is that just me? Tick. I feel accomplished. I feel proud. And that's what it's doing to your mindset. Again, it's that thing of kind of taking control. These are the things I need to tackle. I'm compartmentalizing them. I'm putting them on my list and I will tick them off when I achieve them. So if you're finding yourself in a negative space, perhaps because you have so much going on in your life, write lists, write a list of what your priorities are. Because some of those things on the list, it doesn't mean that they all need to be tackled the next day, but just list your priorities and just the things that you need to get started on. You don't have to even finish them because that can feel overwhelming if you've got to complete your whole list. That's not what your list is about. It's about prioritizing and what do you need to start and what could be left for another day. Moving on to the next step is to get quality sleep. Now, sleep is so underrated when it comes to your mood. I can often, if I'm having a slightly negative day, I can often relate it back to not having enough sleep. So if you can try and aim for at least 7 hours good quality sleep, then that will really help to raise your vibrations. So I think it's really good to try and turn your phone off or not have any phone activity for at least an hour before you go to bed. I find that sometimes when I sit up on my phone and you end up doom scrolling, I'm not sure if it's the light or your brain just being, activated with all these videos and reels that you're being shown, just is a recipe for a bad night's sleep. So I really feel like this is something I'm going to do this week because I've spent a lot of time on social media recently. And I think I think it's important to switch off technology. Really good if you can get a book out. I've started reading a lot more recently. And I've noticed that if I read before bed, not on my phone, but if I actually read a book before bed, it just unwinds me and it really gives me a better quality of sleep. So your body needs rest, your mind needs rest. Make sure you're getting at least 7 to 8 hours sleep, and that is a sure way to improve your mood. The next step in raising your vibrations is to spend time with like-minded people. We all have those people in our lives that raise our vibrations for us. We bounce off them, we laugh with them, we rant to them. Find yourself those people and spend time with them, connect. A lot of raising your vibrations, even though in your negative times, sometimes you feel like hiding away, you don't feel like seeing anyone or socializing. But if you can find those like-minded people, perhaps that relative or that friend that really understands you, and energy is contagious. And try and think of a time where I know I've certainly had this, where I've gone to lunch with a friend or I've gone out for a drink and I come back absolutely uplifted. I feel alive. I feel on top of the world. I feel like I can conquer all of my goals and all of my dreams. And that is just because you have shared those energies and you've raised your vibrations together. So I call this tip buddy up. Buddy up, get a manifesting partner or, a vibrations partner. I don't know what that means. That sounds a bit dodgy. Just someone to help you raise your vibrations. Now, within this doesn't mean that you always have to be so cheery when you see them. But what you can also do, if you have this manifesting buddy, you can also offload on them. Now, whilst we don't want to just offload all of our problems onto someone else, if you have a friend or a brother or a sister or someone that you can offload to, then I think it's really good. I actually call it having a brain dump. And it's offloading all of the things that are bothering you, because sometimes we talk about raising our vibrations, but within that, it's really important to allow and deal with the negative thoughts and feelings that are upon us as well. So find that person to buddy up with. And if you need to, have a brain dump. And I quite often do this with my sister, and we'll say, right, can I just have 10 minutes? Because we've spoken in podcasts before about how your thoughts and your feelings that you put out impact the reality that comes back to you when it comes to manifesting. So you don't want to live in this negative space and be ranting all the time, but we'll quite often say to each other, can I just have 10 minutes to have a mini rant about all of these things that are bothering me or the things that are upsetting me? And then I will work on raising my vibrations. So have a brain dump, get it off your chest. Again, it's a bit like, the feelings of writing those lists when you're feeling overwhelmed. Offloading them can get them out of your brain, out of your body, and release them into the universe to then get rid of them. Because that's just excess weight and excess baggage that you're carrying around. So offload to someone and just allow yourself, maybe give yourself a time limit to do it. So set yourself 10 minutes or 15 minutes if you've got a lot of negativity floating around. Give yourself your rant, offload, and then work together. Work together with this person and, laugh together, chat about your goals, really manifest together, meet up, chat about your goals, and come up with a plan together. So set yourself some goals together. So, and write them down. Now, actually, this reminds me of a really interesting day. And I'll go into this a bit more detail in another podcast. But one of my sisters was having a bit of a lull and a few kind of negative feelings of just feeling a little bit lost and, wanting to improve, their work and their finances. So we ended up meeting up for lunch. We had a cheeky Nando's. We popped ourselves in Nando's. And on my way to meet her, I bought her this book, and it was almost like a little manifesting notebook. And it had a really positive quote on the front. I think it was like, "You can," or something like that. And it had stars. And it was really lovely. And it was just a little gift to kind of go, right. We actually said to each other, let's meet up for a manifesting day. And we still do this to this day. We go, right, we need to raise our vibrations. We need a manifesting day. We need to check in with each other, check in our goals, set our intentions. So on this day, we set up in Nando's and we both had our notebooks, and we set some really good intentions. And I will go into this in more detail, but let's just say my sister I think she put 3 things on that would help with her business. And within 24 hours of our meeting, where we bounced our energies off of each other, we lifted our moods, we really, really helped to lift each other. Within 24 hours, she had the most groundbreaking phone call that helped her business unimaginably, something that had never happened before. And it was exactly what she had written on her intentions. And like I say, I'm actually going to do a podcast soon about some amazing manifesting stories, and I will put that into the podcast. But she received these things within 24 hours. We still talk about that day to each other, and we go, that's why it's so important to buddy up and share your energies, because that is honestly when the magic happens. So if you can find that like-minded person to do that with, find them, give them love, also help to raise their energies as well. It's not just about, you don't want to just suck the life out of someone and drain their energy. It's about bouncing off and raising each other up. Teamwork really elevates your manifesting game. So if you can, it's like when I said in a previous episode about doing vision boards and how it's actually quite exciting to do it with a friend or have friends over and have a manifesting day. It really does. Talking about your lives, talking about your worries, and then talking about your goals can really help elevate your manifesting game. And more importantly, as we're discussing this week, help raise your vibrations. Another really important step is to use affirmations when we're trying to raise our vibrations. So if you don't know what affirmations is, that's it's statements that you are telling yourself out loud, or subconsciously, I have some examples here, and these are ones that I use regularly. I am a magnet for miracles. Good things happen to me every day. I attract in happiness and abundance. So there's statements and affirmations that you are telling yourself and telling the universe in the present tense as if you already have those things. So if you're wanting a fit and healthy body, I am fit, I am healthy, I have a dream body. Those are affirmations. And positive affirmations will help fuel your mind onto a positive frequency. So these are particularly handy when you're feeling in a negative space. The more you use positive affirmations, so actually tricks your brain into believing those statements. So even as a manifester, I'm going to be really, really honest with you here. So I used to see people saying, oh, use your affirmations. I am happy. I am rich. I used to think that they were a little bit fluffy and are they really going to work? Is the universe really listening? Well, firstly, yes, the universe is absolutely listening and matching your frequencies. But there is a science in affirmations as well. Your brain does not know the difference between a statement that you are telling it that is real or false. It will release the same chemicals or endorphins as what that statement would if it was actually real. Does that make sense? I don't know if I've just worded that in a really strange way. But you are actually tricking your brain into believing those statements. So by saying, I am a magnet for miracles, I am lucky, good things happen to me every day, even if you don't believe those things at first. The more that you say them and the more that you think them, you will be tricking your brain into thinking that they are real statements and that you are all of those things. So these affirmations have so much power you would not believe. If you are constantly telling yourself that you are lucky and that you are happy, your body will release, and your brain and your body will release chemicals like happy hormones that flood your body. So eventually you will start feeling happy. You will start feeling lucky. As a result of, you will then be operating on a high vibrational frequency, a happy frequency, a feeling good frequency. And that in turn, in your manifesting game, this is where you will be able to manifest in all of the things that you want to manifest into your life. You can use affirmations in all areas of your life. I attract money easily and in abundance. I am in a relationship with the love of my life. I am successful. Everything I do is a success. I am healthy. Another step to raise your vibration is to help others and practicing acts of kindness without any expectations, so not expecting anything in return. And this is such a huge step for me. And I think it's such an underused tool when it comes to manifesting, but also to raise your vibrations. I've got a whole chapter of this in my book that I'm writing at the moment. And the impact of kindness is huge. Helping others in raising your own vibrations is an interesting one because you should offer kindness and helping of others without any expectations, without any expectation of feeling good yourself. But an offset reaction of offering kindness helps you feel good. It is just the law. There's a book that I read. I'll have to put this in the captions as well because I can't remember it, but it's to do with kindness. I think it's called by the author is someone McLeod. I'll look at that. And it is such an amazing book. And it basically says how, kindness spreads like wildfire. And by helping others, you're also raising your own vibrations. So you could ask, well, is that selfish to help others for my own gain? But ultimately, that's not what you're doing it for. You're doing it to spread love. You're doing it to spread kindness and to help others. if the reaction is that you actually feel good about yourself, then nobody loses out. So, sometimes when I've got nothing in the tank and I'm feeling a bit lost, I will just find a way to help others. And if you can do that, you will naturally raise your vibrations. So if you're feeling negative today, it can be simple things. If you go shopping and you think the girl looks really lovely in her dress, say to her, "Excuse me, you look great today. I just wanted to tell you look great. I like your shoes. I like your hair." Honestly, the feelings that will give you are infectious. And I notice this a lot. If you look on social media, or even when you've spoken to friends or family. Now, if someone has done something good for someone and they've had a good response back, you often see that people will tell their story. "Oh, you'll never guess what happened today. I helped this little old lady in the shop. I helped her to post her parcel at the post office." This happened to me recently. And they will come back and tell you these stories. They come back and tell you the stories of how they helped someone, not in a big-headed way, but it is because they are feeling energetic and alive, and kindness spreads like wildfire. So you can actually see the result in the way that people talk to you. I helped someone today. I gave someone a compliment and they smiled, and that made you feel really good today. So you may come back and tell your loved one what happened. And there's this, contagious energy. I want to talk about, kindness, helping others, but also raising energies. Like I said, when you can raise energies together. Now, energies are contagious, and so is helping others and feeling good. I had a trip recently to Paris. My lovely mum took me and my sisters to Paris as a belated Christmas present. So we went for the day. We spent all day exploring Paris. We went to see some of the sights. We went for lunch. We had a really, really good time together. And by the evening, it was time to get our train back to London. And as you can imagine, as we'd had the first train out in the morning, we were absolutely wiped by the end of the day. Absolutely wiped. So we were waiting in the train station in Paris, waiting for our train, and it was really busy. There was nowhere to sit. We'd been walking all day and we just wanted to sit down and just relax, for about an hour before our train. So there was nowhere to sit. And then we spotted a Pret. We spotted a Pret in the corner of the station. So there were a few tables there. It was actually quite empty in there. And we went and sat at one of the tables, and we had intended to, buy a coffee or something. But at that point, we kind of just slumped in our chairs and we just sat chatting, or, some of us just daydreaming, I think, where we were just so tired and thinking about the lovely day that we'd had. And the security guard approached us and he said, "You can't sit here unless you buy something." And we just wanted to sit down. We really, when you're just exhausted. And he said, "You have to buy something." And we said, yeah, no problem. And there was part of us that thought, just let us sit here for a minute. There's no one fighting for a table. And about 5 minutes later, I think the security guard had spoken to one of the guys in Pret. We still hadn't bought anything at this point, although we had intended to. This lovely guy came out from behind the kiosk, and he came over to us and he said, "Hello, can I get you a drink?" And we said, we could have in this moment felt that they were kind of coming to us at a point of in a point of rage, going, "You must buy something." But he came over very politely and said, "Can I get you a drink?" And we laughed with him and we smiled with him, and we just told him about how exhausted we were. And we said, "Oh, we're really, really sorry. We promise you we are going to go and get a drink in a minute. We are just so tired. We are resting our legs." And we kind of, I guess, met him with a kind of really kind attitude, but also our energies were also alive, and we smiled and we laughed with him and we chatted with him. And he looked at us and he smiled. He smiled back and he said, no, don't worry. What can I get you to drink?" As if to say, don't worry about getting anything. It's on me. And it came with like a real warmth and a kindness. And we said, no, absolutely not. No, it's absolutely fine. He said, "Please allow me. Let me get you all something." And we put in some orders and he came back with coffees and cokes, a few drinks that we'd ordered. And when we tried to give him money, he said, no, I don't want it. Please, it's on me. He said, enjoy the table. Now, in this moment, my sisters and my mum, our vibrations were raised in an instant. And so were his. I could see that he felt really accomplished and happy in the gesture that he had offered us. And we could not believe the kindness, the energy, the warmth that this young guy had shown towards us. And we instantly, looked at each other, and we're interested in manifesting, and we know about raising energies. And we said, this is it. This is what happens when you bounce off each other. The energies are high. We then moved about at the rest of our day, and all of these good things happened to us after that because we'd raised our vibrations. And what we did is when we left that prep, this guy had offered us kindness with no expectations. But in return, because we were so filled with his warmth and energy and his loveliness, we gave him 20 euros and we said, for you, please. No, he didn't want to take it. But we gave him the 20 euros because kindness spreads like wildfire. He had made us feel so good. I think he'd felt good in himself from doing it as well. And we wanted to offer something back. So we gave him this tip and he was absolutely thrilled. We all waved, we high-fived each other and we left. And it was this connection and this moment that really made me feel alive. And like I said, it also changed the direction of the rest of the night that we had because we felt lifted. And because we felt lifted, we were kind of in our manifesting sweet spots and good things kept coming to us. So those are my top tips on raising your vibrations. I think it can be really easy to kind of fall into a negative space. And I think it's really important not to be too hard on yourself. Even the most masterful manifestors will have moments when they feel lost or directionless or sad, and maybe they are for genuine reasons, and maybe you don't know what they are. And that is okay. There are so many things in your life that will affect your mood, whether that's hormones, lack of sleep, relationship problems, difficulties at work, or for no reason at all. Part of raising your vibrations is welcoming those negative thoughts. We've spoken about this in a previous podcast, but don't be so hard on yourself. Yes, it's important to raise your vibrations. And I think it's important to take steps and to follow some of these simple steps that we've spoken about today and do as many of them as you can to raise your vibrations. But it is also important to respect your feelings of negativity and your emotions and to not just brush them under the carpet, because if we just bury them, they will rear their heads later and you will have to deal with them again. So just, welcome those negative thoughts and allow yourself time to compartmentalize. Why are you feeling negative? What negative thoughts do you have control of? What can you manage? What can't you? And get rid of the negative thoughts that aren't in your control. And if you don't know why you're feeling negative, then just provide the warmth and the security that you need to tell your feelings that they are okay. It's justified. It's warranted. You are allowed to feel that way. And by accepting that you have some negativity in your life is also a way of offering yourself self-care. And we spoke about self-care today. And, accepting those negative thoughts is also a form of self-care. And by dealing with them head on is important. And it's an important way to help you regain the control in your life. But then you raise your vibrations. And I think that's where it's so important. Just do things every day to raise your vibrations. I woke up this morning. I didn't have the best sleep last night. I woke up this morning and I knew I was doing the podcast today, and I knew that the topic was going to be how to raise your vibrations. Now, I am not working today, my day job. I'm actually not working today. I had a lovely lie-in, and sometimes that's great and sometimes it's not great, because I think actually forcing yourself to get up earlier, even if you're going to lounge around later on, I think forcing yourself to get up earlier and to move and to take action actually helps your mindset and helps set you up for the day. But I laid in bed this morning, slept in, and I thought, right, I'm doing a podcast, how to raise your vibrations. I'm feeling ever so slightly out of sync today. So I must follow my own advice. And I put my trainers on, and luckily I'm actually away for the week this week, and I'm staying in a place that has a gym and a swimming pool. And I thought I will make the most of that, and I will set myself a small goal. Just like we spoke about earlier about your 5-minute goal, I thought I will just walk on the treadmill for 10 minutes. That is all I'm going to do. And I went to the gym, put my trainers on, went to the gym, and I walked for 10 minutes uphill. And I instantly felt lifted. I instantly felt lighter. I had more clarity. So I walked for a further 10 minutes. After that, I walked for a further 10 minutes. So I ended up doing a 30-minute walk on the treadmill uphill at quite a speed. I then had another half an hour in the gym, and I did some weights and I did some exercises. So moving my body and setting myself that small goal, which was achievable, has raised my vibrations. It gave me the ideas of what I wanted to talk about in the podcast today. It came back and I felt enthusiastic. I felt motivated. I've written the notes and I've written a list of all the things that I need to accomplish this week. So I've only taken one simple step this morning, and that has already raised my vibrations. And that is why I'm passing on these steps to you today. And I also want to tell you that if you're feeling negative, you are not alone. You are allowed to feel those feelings. You are not alone. You can do it. And it is time to take back control of your life. And that is what manifesting is all about, taking the reins and being in control of your own life. Imagine that when you are manifesting, you are the painter, and your life and every day is the canvas. And every day you can create your own piece of art, your own work of art full of your dreams and everything in it that you want to manifest. You have the power, and you have the power to raise your vibrations. The more things that you can do, and these are just today, I've just given you some steps and some tasks to do, but you may know of things already that you know that feeds your soul. And the more that you can feed your soul, that will help you to raise your vibrations. So if there's something that you've always wanted to try new things. That might be new restaurants, new experiences, new classes, new hobbies, new books, new music, new podcasts. Maybe it's starting your own podcast. Whatever that is, then find what makes you happy and do those things. I really hope you're all going to help raise your vibrations today and every day, and particularly when you're feeling low and in a negative mood. Thank you so much for your questions, and particularly those questions which we've touched upon today, which is how to raise your vibrations, what to do if you're feeling in a low, how to find your flow again, what to do if you're feeling in a rut and if you're feeling negative. Those questions have really fueled today's podcast, and I really hope that you get something out of this. I would love to hear any more questions that you have about manifesting. Please DM me. I'm at The Holly Edwards on Instagram, and I'm on TikTok at The Holly Edwards, where I also share very fun manifesting tips. I found an amazing manifesting tip this week, which actually blew my mind. And I'm going to have to talk about it in another podcast because it's to do with helping with your visualizations and using ChatGPT to raise your manifesting game. There's actually a video that I put out on TikTok this week, so you can check that out there. But please send in your questions, your feedback. It really helps if you're able to rate this podcast. If you've taken absolutely anything from it, then please rate it. It really helps to be visible to other people. And I'm just about sharing the message of manifesting and just helping everyone just to lead a happier, lighter life and doing things that you want to be doing and bringing in money by doing things that you want to be doing and that make you happy. And that's all that manifesting really is about. If you have any suggestions about themes and topics for the podcast, please send them over so that I know what it is that you want to listen to. I've had such lovely feedback from you all. I really have. I am off out. I'm going to do a little bit of shopping. I'm looking out now and the sky is blue and the sun is shining and I haven't been outside yet. So I'm going to raise my vibrations and go for a walk outside, taking the nature, taking the sights. I'm going to do a little bit of shopping. I'm going to raise my vibrations and I'm sending you all off with so much love today. And thank you again for joining me. And I really, really, really hope you feel happy. So I'm going to leave you guys to live your best life. And I will leave you with this quote today. You need to raise your frequency to match the vibration of the one you want to tune into. Raise your vibrations, guys. Goodbye.